commitment to live tweet photos behind the scenes. This is the sacrifice I make for our fans. This is all for you. Paint had amassed enough new material aside from the budget to actually put out a full-length album. And I kind of thought, well, why don't we do it as like a double A-side, like a Tim Hortons special. But we had these 4 songs amongst our catalog that seemed to carry a consistent narrative with them. And I kind of looked at collaborations between like U2 and Anton Corbijn and creating like a narrative visual accompaniment to go with the songs. And wrote this really minimalist script for this thing called 1111. And when we finished the Boomerang video, or we're close to finishing it, Ryan and I had a meeting at Spirits in Toronto and talked about maybe having him direct it.
Low pan from here down of you passed out while she's like out for like a morning stroll or whatever. And then we do a POV from you, because maybe she's woken you up and you're like hungover as shit. You're like, ah. And just maybe recoiling from you, kind of like, whoa. Okay. And she's like heading off in the other direction. I think that might make the most sense here.
I think my exact wordings in the initial Spirits discussion was, this is good, I think we can do this, I don't think we'll get a lot of traction with this, let's make it weirder. Because I felt it was important to try and do that, because adding additional layers to what at the time seemed like a very straightforward indie drama seemed like the best approach to make it like more of a discussion piece. Twin Peaks, the famous David Lynch television series, had just been added to Netflix. And so I was rewatching that in the process of our initial discussions. And Robb made this mention that he wanted to have these segments where the band was performing in this white space on television sets in the backgrounds of all of these scenes.
And the characters were doing a certain drug.
Right. 1 second, I'm trying to fix this. So in rewatching Twin Peaks and seeing this first foray into the Black Lodge, this ethereal alternate dimension that this FBI agent, Agent Cooper, ends up sort of being transported to on multiple occasions, I sort of saw a parallel between that and said, like, what if in this drug overdose scene that you've got in this script, what if our protagonist actually ends up in the white room where the band is performing as though it is a pocket dimension? And Robb got so excited about this idea that we then started extrapolating, like, what is the justification for us even having a pocket dimension in the first place?
If we can bring it in like this.
So Devin back in the corner, where he was?
Kind of originally, like, you get the drum kit like here.
So you want us facing this way?
Yeah. So essentially, we're recreating this, right?
Yeah.
So he's here. I want to sort of bring it out this way.
By the time we were about a third of the way through, we realized this wasn't going to be a 16-minute visual accompaniment to songs. It became a film to which the songs were the supporting materials, kind of like a Who film, like Quadrophenia or something, where the band is kind of more incidental as a side character to this actual story, which became very, very dense and very, very deep with so many layers of meaning and symbolism.
Probably the most ambitious thing we've done as far as visual media goes.
Now it's our 4-song EP accompanying a short film instead, so we kind of switched roles there, and so now we're in the film business.
You put us in a context of having to make a film as opposed to playing a show where we're like, no, straight edge, drink tea, warm up, do yoga. We're on a film set and we're just like...
Casual beers on stage and multiple beers on set.
So it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon while everyone else is working on getting a vodka banana shake. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of it. It's rock and roll, but it's very femme as well.
Oh man. This is so rock and roll of you, Robb, to get a drink in the middle of your
I know, yeah.
Let's drink that drink and get out of here.
I hope it's not this sweet.
I'm so excited. I think it was freeing at that point to look at it more as a film first, and it kind of gave Ryan especially and us just the freedom to be weird.
Great tip for waitress. Welcome to the Emerald Room. My name is Guy Gadois.
What's your name?
Guy Gadois. No, that's a really nice ski mask.
It's fitting, actually. This is very Twin Peaks music.
Yes, but this isn't a coat check. Thank you, Jordan.
Just play a bunch of wrong notes in succession and then it's jazz.
Not plugged in.
Alright, so...
Because I think one thing that I love and hate about paint is how accessible we are, and I always want us to be weirder, but we have this gift, and I emphasize the word gift, to be able to write these very anthemic stadium rock kind of choruses and songs, and that's something that we don't apologize for at all. But doing a project like this really allowed us to exercise our artsy experimental weirdness a little bit more. It started as a very simple story, a very simple minimalist black and white story of a relationship that sort of ends, and we follow the male character's spiral into oblivion without really knowing what happened until the very end.
Coincidence? I think not. Thematic language.
Analogies.
That's it.
That's it.
But now there's all these extra layers of these existential things and other realities, and it's like a dreamlike state where, you know, Trevor sees certain characters that appear as one thing, but like in a dream you see something that appears as one thing but is actually something else. And that even worked its way into a lot of the dialogue that was written into the film about this sort of drug-induced hallucinogenic weird state where you don't really know what's reality and what's not, and what's a dream and what's really happening, or does that even matter? Are these all just levels of consciousness that we experience reality with? It's become this very brainy thing, but at the heart of it I think is still a very human story of basic things that we can all identify with, like being abandoned and being hurt and causing harm to yourself and to others, and how do you redeem yourself from those things. So I think it does come down to a basic story of love, loss, and redemption, and friendship, and finding inner strength, and you know, all those wonderful things that I think our music is really based on anyways. But we got to get a little nutty with how we presented the story.
A group of dudes, they seemed Russian or something, just came and asked me if I knew where the brass rail was.
Yeah?
So I was like, that way, on this side of the street. I said, how far? I'm like, I don't know, it's up that way. Like, how many blocks? Is distance really an issue when you want to go and pay $20 a song for a lap dance? Like, you gotta earn that shit.
I don't think the point of this film was to be emotionally slutty and just like, ooh, emo me or anything like that. I think it needs to belong to the audience, and there are things that frankly I don't think are my business to even talk about. The film should just really be able to speak for itself.
This is your relationship.
You
Head over heels in.
and she just like,
Fuck this shit.
she's like, what am I doing here? Fuck. You know, it's all like, again, like, just to put ourselves back in context here. She's feigning the smile, you know, it's all like she's, you know, like you're completely there, but she's not. All of these, like, your faces are so telling in these. And you're like, oh, come on, it's cute. Let's take a selfie. And she's like, fuck you. So, you know, just, and even here, like, that's some good phases. So, and this is the beginning. This is before it got to this stage. So at this point, she's realized, like, oh, fuck. But she's also like, no.
I think there are certain certain universal themes and ideas that we do talk about in this. I mean, most people have romantic relationships. They have romantic relationships that fail or fall apart or end in some way. What instigates that ending of the relationship is different for a lot of people, but in this particular case, I mean, once you get through the film, I think there are, whether or not you can relate specifically to the exact series of events, I still think people watching this will be able to find some way to relate to these characters and the problems that they struggle with.